Welcome to the theatre of your mind. Please leave all anxieties and troubles behind and prepare yourself for the illumination of your imagination with more tall tales and short yarns. Created by Tim Carroll and Eric Camilleri. Well, g'day there, Cobber, and welcome back for some more tall tales and short yarns. Look, today's story is a bit of a long one. Sometimes they're just little ones, and other times they go for a little bit longer. Just giving you the heads up, mate, that today's story is just a few minutes longer than the little ones. So I hope you're sitting comfortably, ready to take a listen. Actually, who knows? Maybe you're not sitting. You might be out having a run with your headphones on, like Rocky, mate, Sylvester Stallone. Adrian! That's the Rocky theme, just in case you're wondering. Anyway, let's get straight to it. It's called The Bath. Jürgen Stinkpillow was terribly embarrassed. The members of the police, the fire brigade, and his concerned neighbours had only just left his small, tidy fifth-floor apartment. Jürgen was now draped in a wet towel and was still shivering from the entirely horrendous experience. His skin was sore and prune-like, and his sense of modesty was in absolute tatters. It had all begun 4 days earlier, when, after a seemingly normal day at the pickle factory, where Jürgen worked, he'd come home in a cheery enough mood with a bottle of orange Fanta and a couple of his favourite Chico rolls. This was his normal Wednesday evening's meal. He'd watched a current affair on television, eaten his dinner, and then fatefully decided to have a bath. He turned the handles to the tap of the bath and then quickly decided that some music would also help him to relax. He loaded a CD into his little stereo and turned up the volume. Moments later, the soothing sounds of Michael Bublé singing Christmas carols filled his little one-bedroom city apartment. He didn't bother to turn off the button that would repeat the CD once it had played through. Hearing it twice wouldn't be a problem. Jürgen then swished down the last little bit of his remaining orange Fanta. He quickly undressed, turned off the taps and hopped into the bath. He murmured as he slid in and under the warm and exquisite feeling water. He smiled as the steam rose, and then he began to sing along with Michael Bublé to one of his favourites. Silent night, oh, holy night. Life was absolutely perfect. Jürgen began to relax and let all of his cares just fade away. A small warm drop of water dripped from the tap down by his toes. He inadvertently lifted his foot and felt the dripping tap with his big toe. His eyes were closed, and he sighed happily and smiled. Michael Bublé's Christmas album then moved on to Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Jürgen tapped his fingers on the side of the bath and stretched out his toes. It was at this point that he slid his big toe up inside of the dripping tap. It felt strangely comforting to have his toe in the little narrow opening. So without thinking, he pushed it in a little bit further. Whether it was the allure of the steamy bathroom, the warmth of the beautiful feeling water, the Christmas music which reminded him of his childhood, or perhaps even the Chico rolls and the orange Fanta, Jürgen dozed and fell asleep. When he awoke, it was with a startle to the sound of jingle bells, and he realised that his bath was now cold. He also immediately realised that his big toe was stuck inside the tap. With his foot raised all the while that he'd dozed, it had swelled considerably. He pulled and he pulled, but it would not come out. Jürgen began to panic. Whatever would he do? After a few hours, he began to call out loudly for help. All the time, that damnable Michael Bublé CD kept on repeating. Jürgen knew that he was now in real trouble. He yelled and he called, But over the sounds of those damn Christmas carols, he knew that no one would hear him. As his toe began to ache and the hours passed, the water became terribly cold. Jürgen began to sob. The CD just kept on playing, and Michael Bublé just kept on singing. Surely someone at the pickle factory would notice his absence and alert the police when he didn't turn up for work. Jürgen moaned and swore as he remembered that the factory was now closed for Christmas. Time lost all meaning, and over the next 4 days, Jürgen was in an absolute state of delirium. He survived by drinking his bathwater, which he had, of course, peed in. He also, through his terrible hunger, had nibbled slowly away on the bright yellow bar of palm-olive gold soap. Jürgen yelled and he called out for help, but no one heard. Finally, he realised that in all seriousness he could die here in his bath. By this stage, his elevated leg, belonging to the toe which was stuck in the tap, had lost all blood flow. And if it were not for the now severely freezing cold bathwater, which had slowed his pulse, Jürgen may well have suffered a coronary. His head reeled, and his life passed before his eyes. All the while, that damn Christmas music played on and on and on and on as a cruel and unusual form of mental torture. In his fevered state, Jürgen swore that if he somehow survived this ordeal, he would stalk and kill Michael Bublé. Just at that moment, Jürgen was seized by divine inspiration. He stretched out and grasped one of the handles to the tap. He seized upon it, and with all of his might, in a show of superhuman strength, he wrenched it free from the wall. He took aim and hurled it through the frosted glass bathroom window, which shattered and exploded into tiny pieces. He then somehow slid the top half of his aching body far enough out of the bath, and through his unbearable pain, he managed to reach out far enough to extend his fingertips over the white porcelain toilet bowl and to somehow grab free the long roll of sorbent toilet paper. Holding on to one end of the roll, he threw the other end like a long white streamer out through the now broken window. He fell back exhausted into the cold bath and began to scream. Soon enough, a passerby heard the scream, noticed the lengthy roll of toilet paper dangling down from the broken window of the 5th-floor apartment, and before long, a crowd had gathered and the fire brigade and police had been called. Soon afterward, Jürgen Stinkpillow was rescued. 23 strangers had that day seen him naked and hysterical. But still, no one had thought to turn off that damn Michael Bublé Christmas album. Jürgen was now safe, but tragically, the same could not be said for an unsuspecting and vulnerable Michael Bublé. The curtain now must fall upon the theatre of your mind. But until we meet again, just promise to be kind. Thanks for listening to Tall Tales and Short Yarns.